Well, welcome back. It's 32 degrees in Kokomo this morning. It's going to go up to 45 this afternoon. Today's Wednesday, and Amber Jordan's with us. And Kokomo Toys is open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And I was in the store last week one day. What an interesting store. Give us the concept. Tell us a little bit. We got a picture up on the screen.
Yeah, we buy and sell vintage toys and also modern toys, mostly action figures.
Okay. And you do a business on the internet?
Yep. Yeah, we sell online on eBay and then in the store.
What's the biggest seller? What's the biggest action? Star Wars?
Let's see. I would say Marvel.
Marvel
Universe, so all the comic book characters.
Okay.
That's a big seller.
That's from Aquaman to Superman to...
Actually, that's DC.
See, I'm not into the comic book business. It went past me.
It would be more Spider-Man, Wolverine.
Okay. I was going to bring a vintage toy in this morning, except I didn't want to really haul it. I have a 1953 Garton pedal police car.
Oh, a pedal car, wow.
A pedal car that my grandfather gave to me. It's either 53 or 54. It may have been my second birthday. It was at Christmas, so it may have been Christmas of 1954. I have a picture of him bringing this car into our house. And I still have the car and have pictures of me in it, and then my children in it, my grandchildren in it, and we use it as a display piece in our house. But I told my wife, I said, I think I'll bring this car and see what Amber will give me for it.
It's the pedal cars from the 50s. Those can be worth a lot of money.
And this one would have to be refurbished. It was played with a lot.
It was loved. You call
that loved?
It was loved by someone.
Now, when somebody brings in action figures for you, what is how do you go about judging this one's better than the other? How's that work?
Generally, we go and we go through what it is they brought us. We look and see how much wear, how much love it had. If the paint is good, the pieces are not broken. If it has the accessories, like if it's in guns or parachutes or whatever it was supposed to come with, because that affects the value. So we go through and look at that. Generally, we can kind of tell what's popular. Sometimes the prices change a lot, so we have to constantly. Generally, we check online. We don't use like paper books or any way to find a price because that's outdated. So we use online, generally eBay, but sometimes we have to use other sites to see what the current value of the items are.
Now, your store up on Morgan Street, just west of US 31, you have just rows and rows of action figures. And so what is it? I mean, people come in and just buy retail.
Yeah.
What are those items? What's the, because I showed with the comic book, I wasn't sure which character, you had just tons of it looked like action figures and game. What are those?
I mean, we carry all the big names: Star Wars, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Marvel, DC, a lot of stuff from NECA. They do a lot of the toys that go with the movies.
Okay,
like Harry Potter.
Is this new or are these vintage?
Most of them, it's about a 50-50 split.
Okay.
Because we carry a lot of vintage stuff. We are real involved with the Midwest Coil Club, which is a collection for G.I. Joe, vintage G.I. Joes.
Okay.
We do events with them every year up at the shop. We get a lot of, they call them Joe Celebrities, like Gyre Viper from Chicago comes down, and there may be a picture of him standing in the shop. He's got a cardboard cutout.
Okay.
But we do a lot of vintage stuff. We go into like Thundercats. Let's see, Mask. I mean, there's just Lone Ranger. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff.
Well, one of the things I saw, I think you had a list, was My Little Pony.
Yes.
I thought to myself, I wonder if my ex-wife has all that My Little Pony stuff that we bought for Allison.
Uh-huh.
You know, we could get some of our money back.
You can, yeah. If
Or
if you have
Cabbage Patch
80s.
dolls. Are you a Cabbage Patch doll?
Yeah, Cabbage Patch dolls are good. I would say the ponies are worth more generally.
Really?
Yeah, they're very popular. They have their own convention, their own toy convention, and so it's a very large collectors group for that.
Are most of what you're referring to as vintage toys, are those the 80s?
Yes, yeah, the 80s. Generally, that's what we go. Most of our stuff stays within the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
And early 90s.
Yeah. 50s and 60s have come and gone.
They do. I mean, I still do Barbie from the 60s. So I do
Okay.
G.I. Joe from the 60s.
60s, yeah.
So, I mean, we still touch somewhat in the 60s, but pretty much anything before that, we don't deal a lot in.
Well, and there's not a lot of it still left.
There's a ton.
Is there really?
There is. I know a lot of guys that come in and they bring me stuff from like the 50s and the 40s and stuff like that. And we try to just tell them what it is, what it's worth, if we can find it. Since we don't specialize in that thing, sometimes we'll give them names to other people in the community that do those.
Will you, when somebody brings that in and says, well, I want to sell my toys, my vintage toys, do you buy them directly? Will you consign them and...
We generally don't consign them.
Okay.
Because sometimes it could take a long time to sell it.
Sell it?
So generally we just try to buy it
Buy it
outright.
outright?
Yeah, most people want their money up front and don't want to, wait for a consignment.
Okay. Excellent. I'm telling you, you need to take a trip up to Kokomo Toys. It's on Morgan. What's the actual address, Amber?
1244 East Morgan Street.
And it's just off of 31. It's next to Dollar General, the new Dollar General that was bought. It's across the street from like Save-A-Lot, that area. You know, it's a nice little house, jam-packed from floor to ceiling. You know, I felt, I'm pretty big. I thought I better be careful. I'd be picking up stuff off the floor as I walk through and not. But you could spend a couple hours just going through, looking at stuff and saying, oh, I remember this, and I remember that, and your kids would love it. And I just think it's a neat store, and it's so different for Kokomo.
Yeah.
How'd you guys come up with this idea?
Actually, we collected toys before we did the shop, and we would go all over the state collecting whatever it was we were collecting at the time. I remember we drove all over for like Harry Potter toys when that first came out. The Attack of the Clones for Star Wars, and we drive all over the place looking for them, and because we collected, so we would collect those, and then we decided some of the toys we didn't want anymore because we needed room for other stuff, other toys. So we got online and said, wow, those are worth some money. And we just kind of would do that just to make some extra money to put into more toys. And finally we said, well, you know what, it'd be really fun to have a shop and bring other people to us that do the same thing.
Do the same thing. And you get to always remain a kid.
Exactly.
Playing with toys.
Exactly. My kids are probably the only kids in Kokomo that don't really care for toys.
Well, it's Kokomo Toys. They're up on East Morgan. You got to stop in and check them out. You got a website?
Yes, kokomotoys.com.
That's easy, kokomotoys.com.
Yep, that will take you to the Facebook page, and that is where you get all of the information. It'll show pictures of all of the new stuff that we get in each week, whether it's vintage from buying from a collection or if it's new from Hasbro, Mattel, NECA. We have accounts with all of those companies, just like Walmart.
So you have the latest in toys.
Yeah, brand new.
And you have the oldest of toys. Mm-hmm. It's a perfect world.
And generally, we're a little cheaper than Walmart and Target.
All right. I like that. And they're local. And we are big supporters of Shop Local. Amber, thanks for coming in and visiting with us.
Thank you for having us.
You know, it's a great store. You owe it to yourself to go check it out. We'll be back with a little more on K4U Mornings in just a minute.